Jay Gould, an American railroad executive, financier, and speculator, an important railroad developer who was one of the most unscrupulous robber barons of the 19th century American capitalism. In 1859, he had begun speculating in the securities of small railways, and in 1867, he became a director of the Erie Railroad. In 1868, he joined Daniel Drew and Jim Fisk in a struggle to keep Cornelius Vanderbilt from taking away their control of this railroad. To this end, Gould engaged in outrageous financial manipulations, including the issue of fraudulent stock and the payment of lavish bribes to New York state legislatures to legalize the stock sale. Gould ended up in control of the railroad, and he and Fisk then joined forces with William Boss Tweed and Peter Sweeney to profit from further unscrupulous speculations using Erie stock. Yeah, this guy's a real winner. The four men's attempt to corner the market and loose gold caused the panic of Black Friday, which was September the 24th, 1869. This is when the price in paper money of $100 in gold, after being driven up to $163.50 by market bidding, fell to $133 when the U.S. Treasury placed $4 million in the market. The disastrous panic that ensued ruined many investors and led to a public outcry against Gould, who was finally forced to relinquish control of the Erie Railroad in 1872 after Fisk had died and the Tweed Ring in New York City had been broken up. Now possessed of a fortune of $25 million, Gould turned his attention to railroads in the West. He began buying large blocks of Union Pacific Railroad stock and acquired control of that railway by 1874. He bought other lines as well, so that by 1881, at its peak, his railroad empire was the largest one in the nation, totaling about 15,800 miles of track, or, in other words, 15% of the United States' total rail mileage. Having made large profits from manipulating the company's stock, Gould pulled out of the Union Pacific by 1882. He began building a new railway system centered on the Missouri Pacific Railroad. That constituted 1/2 of all trackage in the Southwest by 1890. In 1881, Gould gained control of the Western Union Telegraph Company after he had weakened that company with cutthroat competition from his own smaller telegraph companies. This guy's a real piece of work, huh? Gould also owned the New York World magazine, and by 1886, he had acquired the Manhattan Elevated Railroad, which held a monopoly over New York City's elevated railways. Gould also had his fair share of strikes. The most famous one is known as the Great Southwest Strike. It was organized by the Knights of Labor in 1886, and it was the largest and most important clash between management and organized labor in the 19th century. The conflict occurred only 1 year after the Knights of Labor won a successful strike against the Wabash Railroad, part of the Southwestern system controlled by Railroad Baron Jay Gould. The 1885 walkout tied up the entire Wabash line in the Southwest. The strike began after the railroad terminated Knights of Labor shopmen, and the union's members on other railways refused to operate any train with Wabash cars. The solidarity of the union men soon brought Gould to the conference table. According to the terms of a resulting agreement, Gould ceased to discriminate against the Knights, and Union President Terence V. Powderly, called off the strike and pledged no further walkouts prior to union management discussions. This surprising and unprecedented union victory led to a major increase in the membership rolls of the Knights of Labor. In the year ending June 30, 1886, national membership increased from about 100,000 to over 700,000 members. In 1886, master workman Martin Irons of the Knights of Labor called a strike against Gould's Texas and Pacific Railway after the firing of a foreman. The conflict rapidly spread to the other roads in the Southwest. Violence soon erupted after workers impeded railroad operations by uncoupling and burning cars. Gould hired scabs, and scabs are strike breakers, and Pinkerton detectives, and he requested military assistance from state governors. Governor John Ireland sent both state militia and the Texas Rangers to assist. Gould's apparent capitulation to the Knights in 1885 later appeared to be only a strategic retreat, because now he was determined to destroy the Union. Railroad management steadfastly refused any concession, and public opinion, initially sympathetic to the Union, turned against the Knights after the onset of widespread violence. The appointment of a congressional committee to investigate the strike made little headway because of a combination of the Union's lack of success in coping with the resolute railroad management, the shift of public opinion away from the Union cause, and Powderly's decision that the strike was hopeless. Failure of the Great Southwest Strike represented the first major defeat sustained by the Knights of Labor and proved to be a fatal blow to their vision of an industrial union that would unite all railroad workers in the Southwest into one big union. Once again, an emerging labor organization was crushed when competing with powerful, determined, and well-organized industrialists in command of nationally based corporations. Gould remained ruthless, unscrupulous, and friendless to the end, and died leaving a fortune estimated at $77 million.